Most coaches are trying to attract everybody and they're making no sales. So if you are a coach and you're looking to get more clients in your business, pay attention, take some notes. This video is going to change everything for you. By the way, my name is Raf Garay. For the past 8 years, I've been helping coaches launch and scale their businesses. And I'm really excited because I just had one of my clients hit his first 6-figure month. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, he probably had a massive audience, has probably been coaching for a long time, and probably had a really big marketing budget. And all of those are false. He didn't have any of those. Doesn't have a big following, didn't spend a tremendous amount of money on marketing, and this is his first year in business. When he came to me, he had a $197 course. We turned it into a $3,000 coaching program, started to gain some traction, and finally hit a home run. And I'm gonna walk you through this process so you can have an amazing business, so you can start to attract more clients. And you, if you have not done so yet, can hit your first 6-figure month. So where do we begin? Well, let's start at the beginning. And for most coaches, the beginning is offer creation. But let's rewind a little bit further. Before we create the offer, we need to ask ourselves, who are we creating that offer for? Who is our ideal avatar? And that's where we started with my client. And you might be saying, I know I've heard this 1,000 times. You have to go granular with your niche. You've probably heard it from any other coach out there that is teaching people how to build a coaching business. And that's true. You should go granular with your niche and with your ideal avatar. I'm going to tell you why. Let's zoom out for a little bit. How can you stand out as a coach in today's day and age? If you haven't noticed, there's content everywhere. There's 1,000,001 coaches out there. People have advertising budgets. So every time you log into social media, if you follow coaches, you see something about coaching. But it's not a saturated market. So the question remains, how do you stand out? Well, there's 3 really big ways that you can stand out as a coach. The first way, become highly polarizing. I'm talking the Andrew Tates of the world. You are a highly polarizing personality. You post about controversial topics, and the comment section of your content becomes a debating ground where people are either for it or against it, and people go back and forth arguing, and it feeds the algorithm. Next thing you know, you have a viral piece of content. And if that's you, awesome. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. But I do know that you don't need to go viral to build a big business. But that is one way that you can stand out. Highly polarizing personality. What's the second way? Well, the second way that we can really start to stand out is have a really dialed in proprietary process, meaning you have a way of getting people results that's vastly different from all the other coaches out there. So for instance, you could be a fitness coach, and as a fitness coach, you help people lose weight, and you might do it without the harsh and restrictive diets in a sustainable way. And you've dialed in a process over the years that works time and time again. It's easy to follow, and clients, they just keep getting results. So that's another way to stand out. That's a little bit of a double-edged sword. Why is that? When you are marketing, if you're doing it correctly, you're talking about your program, right? It's one of the simplest definitions of product marketing. Talk about the thing that you're selling. And if you're always talking about how you get people results, you're talking about your method, it's only a matter of time before people catch on. It could be one of your clients, it could be other coaches. Next thing you know, there's 10 other people out there that have some variation of what you teach. So I'm not saying that you should hold back your marketing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a proprietary process. You should. But what I am saying is it's very easy today to get ripped off, unfortunately. That's just the nature of the industry. But the third way that we can stand out is we get really granular with our niche. And when you get really granular with your niche, you develop a marketing message that talks to one specific person. And I'm going to give you an example of this in a minute. But if you're talking to one person, my mentor, guy I worked with for a long time, you might know his name, Dean Graziosi. I've had an opportunity to build coaching programs with him and Tony Robbins for years. He had a great definition of marketing. Good marketing pushes away the people that aren't for you, and it attracts your ideal client. So yes, your marketing should be doing both. It should be pushing people away and drawing people closer, the right people. So if you narrow down your niche and you speak to just one person, you can start to stand out. So let's get a little more granular with this, and let me give you some examples so you can understand. And I'm gonna give it to you through the lens of what I do. I teach coaches like yourself how to get more clients and build a profitable business. So if I look at the process of creating an offer, the process of creating an offer at a very high level is somewhat simple. I look at the person I'm serving, the problem that I'm looking to solve, and I am reverse engineering an outcome for that individual. For coaches, that means I need to teach them how to create a crystal clear offer, need to teach them how to create content and write marketing that attracts their ideal clients. And I need to give them some sales acumen so they can actually sell their program once people start raising their hand and show some interest. That is a general avatar, somebody looking to build a coaching business. We're going to add one layer to this avatar. And this is a layer that I want you to add. I'm going to show you right now how it changes the product, in turn, how it changes the marketing. It helps you stand out in the marketplace and helps you sell more, but not just sell more. It helps you sell more to your ideal customer, the person that you want to really work with. And we are going to create an identity-based avatar. Think about your avatar right now as it stands. Hopefully it's already pretty granular, but if you add an identity layer, you're going to ask 3 specific questions. I have them written down in my notebook. I want you to write them down in yours. So the first question that we ask, who do they believe they are? Your ideal client, who do they believe they are? Question number 2, who do they want to become? Ideally, what is the person that they are looking to transform into, that next level version of themselves? And the third question, what do they need to believe about themselves to say yes to your offer? The identity that I chose, the people that I absolutely love to work with, is the founder identity. There's a coach who has a really good skill that he can teach to other people, has a 9-to-5 job, wants to take a couple of clients here and there, maybe make a couple of extra bucks. More importantly, just wants to help people. That's amazing. And that's a lot of people. That individual may or may not want to grow a big business. The founder identity. They are all of the above. They have a big heart. They have a skill that's very valuable that they can teach to other people, but they have the spirit of an entrepreneur and they want to build a real business. They don't just want a program that's written out on a Google Doc and they're pumping out a bunch of content and getting a client here and there. They want to create a systematic approach for creating marketing assets so they can attract their ideal client on a consistent basis. They want a system to be able to capture their ideal client's information so they can continue to market them through email nurturing sequences and SMS. These are people that are keeping an eye on their P&L, analyzing marketing data. The real entrepreneur, the true spirit of a business person. That changes everything. So let's once again zoom out for a little bit. If I were to teach any coach how to get more clients, I could easily just teach them how to create a crystal clear offer, how to do the marketing, how to do the sales. That in and of itself is valuable. And you will, if you master those 3 pillars, you will grow your business. But it doesn't build a true business, one that's driven by data and numbers, where you wake up in the morning, you open up a spreadsheet, you know your margins, you have a P&L, you know how much money you're making, you have systems, you have processes, you are looking at every single metric in your business and you're making data-informed decisions. 2 completely different skill sets. So because I've chosen the founder as the identity that I love to coach, these are the people that I really love to get in the weeds with. Why? Because those are the things that I love. So question number 1, who do they believe they are? They believe they're somebody that has a valuable skill that they can teach to other people. Who do they want to become? They want to become that true entrepreneur that has a business that is scaling so they can leave their 9 to 5 and do what they love on a full-time basis and continue to grow as I have. I spent years in corporate America, worked in New York City at an advertising agency and had a great career, worked for a great company. I just didn't love what I did. I had such a passion for coaching and helping others. And I didn't want just a little coaching program. I wanted to be a real business owner. And I'm essentially coaching the old me. So they want to become that entrepreneur. And if that's who they want to become, we're going to focus on the first 2 questions. We're going to focus on the 3rd question in a minute. But if I know who they believe they are and I know who they want to become, that's going to change my product. I can no longer just teach offer creation, marketing, and sales. I have to teach them how to run a P&L, how to build a program that holds its margin as it scales. I have to teach them how to look at marketing analytics so they can see what needs to be optimized. More importantly, how to optimize it so they can bring in more clients. I have to show them how to build out pipelines and systems within a CRM so when people raise their hand and say they're interested in their offer, they don't lose track of people. And that's exactly what I did in my program, The Founder Circle. I took the basics, the things that you absolutely need: offer creation, marketing, and sales. And I added the more entrepreneurial elements. If we look at that for a second, let's go back to standing out. If you're marketing your product, you need to talk about the thing that you're selling. And if you get really granular with your niche, it helps you stand out a little bit more. So I might create a post on Instagram, Facebook, right here on YouTube and say, listen, if you're looking to build a coaching business, and I don't mean you want a couple of coaching clients, I mean you want it all. You want to learn how to run a real business. You want to learn metrics, how to run your numbers, how to scale, how to build systems so you can eventually get out of your 9 to 5 and grow something really impressive. I have something for you. There's going to be a lot of coaches out there that just don't resonate with that. They don't want to dive into a P&L. They don't want to learn systems and analytics. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But that just means that when they hear my message, I'm going to push them away. There's probably a better program for them somewhere else. But the person that wants to build a scalable business, the person that has the spirit of an entrepreneur, they're going to lean in a little bit more. And they're going to say, wait, that sounds really interesting. Before I go any further, I'm going to pause. I just want to recap this. We created an identity-based avatar. I took my already existing avatar and I added a layer that made it even more granular. And how do you add that layer? You just ask yourself, of all the people that represent your avatar, maybe you've coached some people. What is the identity of the person that you like working with the most? And typically, if you've seen some clients before, these are your most enjoyable clients to work with. They are just on the same page with you and you're constantly running in the same direction and it lights you up. You get on a coaching call with them and it doesn't drain you, it just fills your cup even more. So there's no right or wrong answer here. It's your ideal client. So ask yourself, what does your ideal avatar look like from an identity perspective? We ask 3 questions. Who do they believe they are? Who do they want to become? When we understand those answers to those 2 questions, it helps us mold our offer. Understanding that about my ideal avatar allowed me to mold the Founders Circle, a program where you can learn offer creation, marketing, and sales, but also dive into systems and analytics. And I truly believe that regardless of what your mindset is, a lot of people run away from when they hear analytics and P&L. A lot of people say, oh, I'm not ready for that. That's a little too advanced. I actually think the opposite. I think understanding analytics and having systems right from the get-go helps you grow faster, but that's just my opinion. But either which way, once you add that identity layer, you get to decide what, if anything, from your program needs to be added or subtracted. So now we're back. We have a program. We've created this marketing message. When you create a marketing message, now it stands out a little bit more and people eventually raise their hand. This is the important part, and I want you to pay really, really close attention because this is how you grow the business. This is how you get more clients. We're going to look at question number 3. What do they need to believe about themselves to say yes to your offer? Now, when somebody raises their hand for the first time, typically what we want to do is reach out to that individual and make a sale. And if you're really good at sales, you can close a lot of people. And if you have someone that is ready for your program right now, no matter what stage of the marketing funnel that they're in, you should sell your program to them if you believe that you can help them achieve a result. However, when you start to attract a lot of attention, you might have 100 or more people that raise their hand and show curiosity. And unless you have an army of a sales team, it's going to be hard to get to all of them in a timely manner. So what do? We're going to build an identity bridge. This is probably one of the most important lessons that I've learned and implemented in my own business in the past year. And it's gotten me so excited because, to be honest, for the past 5 or 6 years, I've been teaching a lot of the same stuff. Why? Because not much really changed. As a matter of fact, when I first started coaching, all you had to do was create some educational videos, showcase that you have an expertise, and people would say, man, I want to learn from this person. And it was kind of easy to get clients and build your business. Now there's just so much noise. So we've eliminated some of that noise by getting very granular and creating this identity-based avatar. And at the top of our marketing funnel, we have curiosity. So instead of exhausting ourselves with immediately giving a phone call to every one of the 300 people that raise their hand and say they're interested in your offer, we're going to create some assets. And when I say assets, I just mean messaging, emails, videos, posts on social media that take them from curious, I think this is really cool, sounds interesting, to convicted, I think I could really do this, to committed, I'm going to do this, and you are the one that I want to get coached by. Let's think about this. I create this message. I talk about this founder's identity and how I've created a program that dives into the back end of a business. Some people, it just doesn't resonate with. They go away. A bunch of other people raise their hand, and they are now in my system. I've had them opt in via a landing page, right? Because we building a real business here. We have a system to collect their information. Now we can start to reach out. When they're curious, there's a few things that they still need to believe before they move forward. Because some people, when they're first starting, might have some limiting beliefs. They might hear numbers and analytics and P&L, and they might say to themselves, I'm not there yet. I don't even have my program put together yet. I need to figure some things out first. And when I figure some things out, then I can come back and I could talk to Raf about his program. But what do I know to be true? I know that if you have the right coach, they can make all of that simple. They can make learning the analytics and the systems simple in such a way that anyone could learn it. So as soon as they opt in and raise their hand and say, hey, yeah, I want to get on a call or I want to learn more about your program, the first thing I would do was create a video for them and start to talk to them about how anyone can do this. You don't need to be a wizard of an entrepreneur to figure this out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make it so simple for you that a child could figure it out. And the more I create these assets, the more they're going to lean in. So I'm going to create a list of all the beliefs they have that might be holding them back. And this is going to take a little research on your part. Maybe you've had some sales calls already. What are the objections that keep coming up aside from time, money, and spouse? I can tell you what my objections are. I'm not ready yet. I need to figure some things out. That seems a little too complicated. I don't know if I'm really capable of doing that. I'm just getting started. For every one of those beliefs, I'm going to start creating messaging. Once again, I'm going to send them emails. I'm going to create videos. And when they hear those videos, they're going to say, well, if you really can make it that simple, if it's not that hard, well, I think I could do that. Now they're convicted. Now the people in my marketing funnel are starting to believe more and more and more that they're capable. And I'm not creating anything that's untrue. These are things that you believe to be true, that you know could help your ideal client, but they just don't believe yet. And I truly believe everybody could do this. I'm just an average guy that started coaching and was terrible at first, and I didn't quit, and I learned a lot along the way. So there's really nothing special about me. Yes, I've been able to get on stage and work alongside some of the biggest people in our industry, generate tens of millions of dollars for my clients and myself. But that's aside from the point. I started on day one creating a post trying to get my first client. You just have to have the willingness to learn. So I believe in my heart of hearts that it's absolutely true. So that's one thing that I want to be really clear on. We're not trying to feed someone information that we don't believe is true. I'm not trying to manipulate somebody. I'm simply opening the door to a different perspective, something that I believe in my heart of hearts to be true. So I want you to think about all the people that have raised their hand, that have some type of curiosity in your coaching program. What are the beliefs that hold them back? At the end of the day, if somebody really wants a result and they believe deep down inside that they can absolutely get there with the right guidance, why would they not want to work with you? And my friends, let me tell you, this excites me so much. I don't ever teach anything that I haven't done successfully. This concept is one of the most powerful concepts in marketing this year. And in about 18 months, everybody's going to be talking about this in one way, shape, or form because it is the new way of marketing. It is no longer get interest and then reach out and try to close down a few sales because there's so much noise out there. There's information everywhere. They can go on AI and get their own advice. Why do they want to get coached by you? Well, because you have the process, you have the energy, you have the know-how, you see things that they can't, that they'd never be able to even ask AI because they don't know to ask. The only thing you need to do is bridge the belief gap and draw them closer. And inevitably, there's going to be less people at the bottom of your funnel than the top, but that makes it even easier because you need to expend less energy to enroll people into your program. My friends, I hope you took notes on this. Quick recap: create an identity-based avatar. Ask 3 questions. Who do they believe they are? Who do they want to become? What do they need to believe about themselves to say yes to you? Create an offer specifically for that identity, the same way that I did. Once they raise their hand, because you've created such good marketing, you're speaking to that one person and they're coming closer to you, they want to learn more, you start addressing the beliefs. You're not just giving 3 steps to this and 5 tips to avoid this. You're speaking to the identity and showing them proof that it's possible, that they can get from where they are to where they want to go with your program. And that, my friends, is how you build an incredible business in 2026. I hope you found this helpful. If you'd like to learn more about the Founder Circle and see if that program is a good fit for you, I put a link down in the description, and I hope to see you soon. Catch you in the next one.